From Diego Sanchez meditating while hanging upside down to Conor McGregor studying animal movements, we've seen some pretty crazy workouts in the UFC. But Tony Ferguson has the most insane workout routine of all time. El Cucuy is a fighter who never fails to surprise his opponents, both inside and outside the cage. When you think of MMA fighters, you might picture them lifting weights and running on treadmills. But there's a lot more to training than just the traditional methods for Ferguson. One such method of his that stands out is shadow boxing with weights. Now, you may be wondering, why? Resistance training. Ferguson is essentially increasing muscle resistance. This, in turn, helps to develop his muscle strength and power. It's like a 2-for-1 deal. But that's not all. Ferguson has also been known to incorporate resistance bands into his training routine. These bands can be used to simulate the resistance of punching or grappling an opponent. It helps him develop his strength and explosiveness, which can make all the difference in a fight. Another aspect that sets him apart from other fighters would be his balance and agility training. This man's not content with just being strong and fast. He knows that in order to be successful in the cage, he needs to be able to move with grace and fluidity. That's why he often trains on unstable surfaces, such as balance boards or balls. By forcing his body to adapt to the unstable surface, he's able to improve his balance and coordination. But that's not all. Ferguson also incorporates gymnastics and parkour-style movements into his training routine. Yep, you heard that right. These movements not only help to improve his agility and ability to move quickly and fluidly, but they also help him to develop his overall athleticism. Imagine watching Ferguson gracefully vaulting over obstacles, tumbling through the air, and landing with precision and control. It's like watching a ninja in action. Training in this way not only helps Ferguson to be a better fighter, but also keeps things interesting and fun for him. He's able to stay motivated and engaged in his training, which is key to achieving long-term success. He's managed to achieve a level of athleticism and grace that few fighters in the octagon can match. And Tony Ferguson's unorthodox training style doesn't stop here. He also has a unique approach to conditioning that sets him apart from other fighters. Instead of relying solely on traditional cardio exercises like running on a treadmill, he often performs conditioning drills in the sand or on hills. Why the sand or hills, you might ask? Well, it's simple. These surfaces provide a greater level of difficulty and resistance. By forcing his body to work harder to move through the sand or up the hill, Ferguson is able to build up his endurance and strength in a way that traditional cardio exercises simply can't match. These drills can include crawling, bear crawls, and other bodyweight exercises that challenge his endurance and strength. For example, he might do a series of bear crawls up a steep hill, or crawl through the sand while wearing a weighted vest. Man, Tony Ferguson's training regime is not for the faint-hearted. This guy's determination and focus are out of this world as he pushes himself to his absolute limits. By building up his endurance and strength in this way, Ferguson is able to maintain an insane level of intensity throughout the entire fight. And get this, even when other fighters are running out of steam in the later rounds, he's still firing on all cylinders. He's a fighter who understands that success in the cage isn't just about physical strength and conditioning. It's also about mental preparation and focus. That's why he puts a lot of emphasis on getting his head in the game before anything else. He uses the power of visualization, meditation, and breathing exercises to help him stay focused and calm. All of this gives him a massive edge and brings his mental game to another level. By visualizing himself performing at his best, he creates a mental image of success that drives him forward during training. And let me tell you, when he steps into that cage, he's as confident as a lion on the prowl. For him, it's all about putting in the work and executing his game plan when he steps into the octagon. He's confident in his abilities because he knows that his effort and consistency in training will pay off in the cage. Ferguson radiates confidence, and he's not here to mess around. And his insane workout routines are what get him there. But some people are worried about whether these methods are holding him back from reaching the very top of the sport. Some critics have suggested that his focus on balance and agility training might not be as effective in the octagon as traditional strength and conditioning exercises. But let's be real, Tony Ferguson is no ordinary fighter. Sure, some might argue that Ferguson's unorthodox approach is a distraction from more practical aspects of fight preparation, but you can't argue with his impressive record. He's won more than 75% of his fights and has been a top-ranked UFC fighter for years. So, while there might be some debate about whether his approach to training is the best for everyone, there's no denying that it's worked for him. And who knows, maybe it's his willingness to try new things and push the boundaries that will eventually lead him to the top of the UFC. Either way, Tony Ferguson is a fighter who's always worth watching, both inside and outside of the octagon. When he steps into the ring, he's fueled up and ready to unleash a world of hurt on his opponent. That's why his diet is an absolutely crucial part of his training too. It's not just about getting the right energy, it's also about maintaining the perfect physique to dominate your competition. That's why UFC fighters like Tony Ferguson hire top-notch nutritionists to make sure they're always at their peak. With a steady and healthy diet, Ferguson is always ready to bring his A-game and show the world what he's made of. The man is an absolute pro at making weight. He's never missed it once in his entire career. And he's not just lucky, he works damn hard at it. Ferguson is super strict with what he eats, and he's not afraid to get his hands dirty in the kitchen. He whips up his own meals whenever possible, making sure they're packed with all the good stuff: fruits, veggies, egg whites, boiled chicken, and brown rice. Nothing sketchy, nothing dodgy, just pure healthy fuel to keep him at the top of his game. When it comes to bulking up and powering through intense training sessions, Tony Ferguson knows that he needs to up his calorie intake. That's why he's not too strict with himself when it comes to portion sizes. He wants to make sure he's fueling those muscles and keeping his energy levels sky high. But it's not all about chowing down on big meals. Ferguson also understands the importance of hydration. He's taken his buddy Dustin Poirier's advice to heart, making sure he's always got plenty of fluids on hand. And when he wants an extra boost, he turns to green tea to help ramp up his metabolism and keep his body firing on all cylinders. But don't get it twisted. Ferguson isn't chugging down any old drink. He's all about the electrolytes, steering clear of any sugary drinks that could do more harm than good. Because when you're a fighter like El Cucuy, you need to be at the top of your game, and that means paying close attention to what you're putting in your body. Well, folks, that was all about how Tony Ferguson prepares for a fight.